There's a moment, a very specific moment when your relationship with money permanently shifts. It's not when you get a raise, it's not when you pay off debt, it's not even when you finally feel like you made it. It's the moment your savings account hits $20,000 and something inside your brain quietly rewires itself. I know that sounds dramatic. I know $20,000, it's not a yacht, it's not a mansion. Honestly, in 2025, after inflation has eaten through everything, it barely covers a year of groceries. But here's what every financial YouTuber gets wrong when they talk about this numbered euros. They focus entirely on the math, the compound interest, the returns, the timeline, and they completely miss the most important part, what actually happens inside your head when you cross that threshold, and why most people, even people who hit €20,000, lose it all within 18 months. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see money in a way that most people spend their entire lives never understanding. Let's be real about something. The economy in 2025 is brutal in a very specific way. Interest rates finally came down mathématiquement curb, but not enough. Rent is still sky high. Food costs have never fully recovered. And if you're under 35, you've watched two once-in-a-generation financial disasters hit before you even had a chance to build any real wealth. So when someone online tells you to just save $20,000 and your life changes, it's reasonable to roll your eyes. Because saving $20,000 when rent is $1,800 a month and groceries cost what a car payment used to cost, that's not advice. That sounds like a punchline. But here's the thing. The amount isn't really the point. The point is what has to happen inside you to get there, and what that process permanently changes about how you think. Because the people who understand this, who actually internalize it, build wealth almost inevitably. And the people who just chase the number without understanding the psychology, they hit $20,000 and they spend it. Then they hit it again and they spend it again. On a vacation, on a car, on something they tell themselves they deserve. Let's make sure that doesn't happen to you. Researchers in behavioral economics have identified something they call financial scarcity mindset. It's not just stress, it's a measurable reduction in cognitive bandwidth. When you don't have a financial cushion, your brain is constantly running background processes, quiet, low-level anxiety about what happens if the car breaks down, if you get sick, if your hours get cut. You don't notice it consciously most of the time, but it's always there, consuming mental energy. This scarcity mindset changes your decisions in ways you can't fully see from inside it. You take the job that pays $3,000 more because you need the money right now, not because it's better for your career in 3 years. You don't negotiate your salary because any number feels better than zero. You don't leave the bad situation because leaving feels riskier than staying. And here's the cruel irony. The decisions you make in scarcity mode are often the exact decisions that keep you in scarcity. It's not a character flaw, it's your brain doing exactly what it's designed to do, prioritize immediate survival over long-term growth. Your brain isn't broken, it's just operating on emergency mode, and you can't switch it off through willpower alone. The only thing that switches it off is the cushion, the buffer, the financial breathing room that tells your nervous system, we're okay, we can think longer term now. That buffer starts to form meaningfully at around $20,000. And when it does, when your brain finally gets that signal, everything changes. Shift to seat. You stop reacting and start choosing. Before $20,000, life happens to you. A bill comes, you scramble. An opportunity appears, you can't take it. A bad situation emerges, you stay because you have no exit. After $20,000, you have options. Not unlimited options, not rich person options, but real, meaningful choices that change the texture of your entire life. Your boss treats you badly, you have 3 months of runway to find something better. You don't have to perform gratitude for a job you hate. An investment opportunity comes up, a friend's startup, a rental property, a side business. You can actually evaluate it instead of immediately dismissing it. The shift from reacting to choosing is one of the most profound changes a human being can make. And it doesn't require $1 million. It requires $20,000 and the understanding of what it's actually for. Shift 2. You start thinking in opportunity cost instead of sticker price. Here's a question. How much does a $35,000 car cost? If you said $35,000, that's the wrong answer, but at least it's incomplete. A $35,000 car invested at 8% annual return over 20 years becomes roughly $163,000. That's what the car actually costs. That's the real price tag. Once you have $20,000 saved, you start instinctively thinking this way. Not because you become some calculating robot who never enjoys anything, but because you've seen what money can do when you leave it alone. You've watched your own savings compound. You've felt the freedom it buys, and suddenly, a depreciating asset that loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot feels very different than it did before. This mental shift is worth more than any budgeting app, any financial hack, any side hustle tip you'll ever find, because it changes the lens through which every major decision gets made. Shift 2. You start playing offense, not defense. When you're broke, all your financial energy goes toward not falling behind, keeping the lights on, making minimum payments, surviving the month. When you have $20,000 in savings, you cross an invisible line where you actually start thinking about building something, not just avoiding disaster. You start asking, where should I put this? How do I grow it? What does my financial life look like in 5 years if I keep doing this? These are fundamentally different questions than how do I make it to Friday, and they lead to fundamentally different outcomes. Okay, let's talk actual numbers for a moment, because the math here is genuinely motivating once you see it. Let's say you're saving $1,000 a month and earning an 8% annual return, a realistic long-term average for a diversified index fund portfolio. Getting to your first $20,000 takes about 19 months. That's the hardest stretch. Every dollar feels like a battle. But your second $20,000? That takes only 17 months. Same effort, 2 fewer months. Because your first $20,000 is now generating returns alongside your contributions. By the time you're pushing toward $400,000 in investments, and yes, that's achievable on an average income with time and discipline, sure, your portfolio is generating roughly $32,000 per year on its own. At 8%, that's $2,600 a month, without working, without doing anything, just from money doing what money does when you leave it alone long enough. That number isn't a fantasy, it's arithmetic. But you cannot get there without that first $20,000, and more importantly, you cannot get there without the mindset shift that comes from building it intentionally. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. Most people who hit $20,000 in savings spend it. And then they start over. And they hit it again. And they spend it again. Not because they're irresponsible, because they never truly understood what that $20,000 was for. They saw it as a reward proof that they'd been good, that they'd earned something, that it was finally okay to breathe and enjoy themselves. And that makes sense emotionally. The discipline it takes to save $20,000 is real. The sacrifice is real. The delayed gratification is hard. You deserve to feel good about it. But here's the reframe that changes everything. That $20,000 isn't a reward for past discipline. It's the seed of your entire financial future. Every dollar in that account is a tiny worker that will work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, for free, forever. It never calls in sick. It never asks for a raise. It never quits. The moment you spend it, you fire all those workers, and you have to start from zero and hire them all over again. Protect the seed. Let it grow. The rewards come later, and they're significantly larger than whatever you might buy today. I'm not going to insult your intelligence with 10 tips to save money advice. You know how to spend less. The question is why it's so hard, and what actually works. Here's what the research and the data consistently show. Automate everything. Willpower is finite. Automation is infinite. Set up an automatic transfer to a high-yield savings account the same day your paycheck lands. Make saving the default, not the decision. Right now, high-yield savings accounts are paying 4 to 5%, meaning your emergency fund is actually growing in real terms for once. Pick one number and make it non-negotiable. Not I'll save what's left over. That never works. Pick a percentage buy-e-o. Even 10% if that's what's realistic buy-e. And pay yourself first, every single month, before you pay anything else. Stop optimizing pennies and start optimizing dollars. The coffee debate is a distraction. Your housing cost, your car payment, your income bees. These are the decisions that move the needle. A $200 month reduction in rent is worth more than skipping 200 coffees. Focus your energy where the money actually is. Kill lifestyle creep before it starts. Every raise is a chance to save more before your lifestyle has a chance to expand. If you get a $500 mold raise, commit to saving at least $250 of it before you spend it on anything. You already lived without that $250. You won't miss it. Find your why and revisit it constantly. Freedom is abstract. Walking away from a job that treats me badly without panic is concrete. Being able to say yes to my kid's school trip without checking my account is concrete. Get specific about what $20,000 in savings actually means for your life. Write it down. Read it when the discipline gets hard. Here's what I want you to take from this video. $20,000 is not the end goal. It's not even close to the end goal. But it is the first real milestone, the point where the psychology shifts, where the math starts working in your favor, and where you stop just surviving and start actually building. The people who get there and stay there are not smarter than you. They're not luckier than you. They just understood early enough that the goal wasn't the money itself. It was the options the money creates, the choices, the breathing room, the ability to design your life instead of just reacting to it. That's what $20,000 really buys you. Not a number, a different kind of life. Start today. Automate one thing. Pick one number. Make one decision that your future self will thank you for. If this video helped you think about money differently, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to go deeper on the psychology of wealth, the next video is right there. I'll see you in it.